Hello everyone, welcome back to Average Aviator. I'm Travis, and this is a little different of a video than I normally do. I'm just in the middle of a series covering this ferry of a PA-12 all the way to Alaska from Kansas, and normally I just film all the stuff together and then include a bunch of shots and add commentary later. And I had just left off with landing the PA-12 in the middle of British Columbia called Toad River, at a place called Toad River. It's a little private strip that I needed to land at to get some fuel, because this PA-12 had horrible range and couldn't make it to Watson Lake safely without getting some fuel. But I left the on my other video I kind of left the progress of the story there, and normally I just clean up the edits and include quick clips here and there and summarize things a lot. But I just kind of threw on the 360 camera while I was going through this and got this whole shot of flying into Toad River and the approach and the landing. And, I think it's pretty cool landing. And normally I don't upload just big, long videos like this with, real-time flying, because honestly, I think it's really boring just watching if you're not doing anything or explaining anything. But some people ask for some more in-depth stuff, and so I figured I'd indulge, and I have this footage, so might as well. But if you're expecting a whole big exciting explanation, then I apologize, but there might be some interesting things along here. One of the things that was really cool going into Toad River was just the terrain around, and especially with this time of the year, everything was super green, but there was still snow up on the tops of the mountains, which you could see. That was pretty cool. This is my first trip up to Alaska, so this kind of terrain was something that I really hadn't dealt with before. I had been in the mountains of Idaho and stuff like that, but these mountains are just a bit different. They're about the same. They're still the Rockies, but it's just a lot more vast wilderness surrounding this stuff, I guess. But because we're off the path of the highway right now, we're a little bit I don't know how to put it exactly. I guess I could show a map at the corner. Maybe I can add that, but we're a little off the path of the highway right now, and there's just literally nothing out there. It's just all forests and hills and trees and sagebrush, or I don't know if that's sagebrush, but low brush everywhere. I mean, it doesn't really matter what altitude you're at out there. I mean, you are going into something, and there's no landing strips, which is kind of interesting. I'd never really done that before. It's just a very different style of flying than I had done, and I thought it was really cool. It is very eye-opening, but it was definitely a lot of fun. We had survival kits with us and stuff like that, but just you can look at this terrain. I mean, you could be at 3,000 feet here above the ground, and where the heck are you going to land? Probably best to be landing towards the river, on a sandbar or something. So in a moment here, we're going to descend into the river valley. It's fun. I don't know. We didn't get super low at all. Definitely. There's nothing there. We're we're definitely adhering to all the FARs and everything like that. But after flying straight and level for, close to 30 hours at this point, getting into the river valley and just maneuvering around a little bit, it was, kind of fun. And like I said, whether you're at 100 feet or 3,000 feet, really didn't matter if you lost your engine. There's not really any places to go beside the river anyway. But you can get a view of the bigger mountains in the background there. They kind of go, the mountains get a bit bigger as you get towards Toad River there. These mountains are probably right around us. I'd have to check the map, but from my memory, they're 5,000 feet or so, maybe 6,000 feet at the most. Maybe even smaller than that. I don't really know. But the mountains towards the back, they're the ones that are real white up there, with all the snow on them. Those are probably 8,000 to 10,000 or so, maybe even more than that. But these are really just foothills out here. But it's just, like I said, the dichotomy of everything just being super green, and it looking like a real mountain, but it's just being real green, and then eventually it just fades to brown as it gets higher. It's just some really cool terrain that I hadn't flown in before this. But thankfully, it was a really beautiful day. going in here. And as I start this descent, I just, do some banking just to make sure there's nothing in front of us and maneuver the airplane, get a feel for it. Because, like I said, we've been flying straight and level for so much, like a ton before this. And so giving a little bit of hands and feet a little warmed up as we get closer to the ground. But, I mean, we're not going to go super low. It's really just, a couple hundred feet or so like that. But there's nothing on this river at all. But, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll just let you enjoy the scenery for a bit, kind of like how I was. We're actually approaching Toad River kind of from the northeast. We had taken a little bit more direct route to Toad River than try to save on fuel and time. You can just follow the highway from Fort Nelson to Toad River and do it that way, and I've done that before. But taking this way, which we kind of cut, kind of more direct, and then you had to kind of follow the valleys, kind of southwest a little bit from coming from the northeast. That's a little bit more direct. Saved a little bit of time. But like I said, it's without the highway underneath you, look at that. Basically, like that little brush right there on the short, like the little riverbank is basically the only place you have that's even remotely similar to a landing area out here. So in my opinion, it didn't really matter whether we were at 3,000 feet or 100 feet. But it is pretty fun here. Just flying kind of low, just nice getting some use to the terrain. It's pretty stable air too. We didn't really worry about mountain wave turbulence or anything like that. But I liked watching the shadow of the airplane go along the river. That was pretty cool. But yeah, we just followed that, and then I had an iPad in the back that we were navigating off of. We have the Stratus there, but the Stratus up here doesn't get ADS-B, doesn't get anything but just your physical GPS location. And that that alone is super helpful, but it doesn't help with weather, which comes into play not here, but further on in the journey. And I'll probably do another one of these videos for some of the other long form free 360 footage that I have. But yeah, this terrain's super cool. I mean, there's just nothing, like we're pretty much right outside of town right now. I mean, if Toad River could be called a town, but as you can see in that woods there's literally nothing. And there hasn't been nothing this entire flight, and we're probably an hour or so into the flight. So it's just really cool how you can go from like the U.S. where there are remote parts of the U.S., but pretty much everywhere in the U.S. there's somebody within us, not very far, no matter where you're flying. But up here in Canada and in Alaska, some of the places, but specifically here where we were flying in British Columbia, that means just places where there is nothing, literally nothing. So it's pretty cool. So the approach here it's kind of funny because the river turns and there's this terrain to the north, I guess that would be, and it doesn't look like we get close to it at all. But even with my flying in Idaho, where I had to put the wing and the Mooney like really close to the trees, or the terrain, I guess, to be able to get the turn radius to safely turn around in some of the valleys in Idaho, like I'm used to that. And this mountain right here, it's like right on the approach end of the landing runway at Toad River. It doesn't look like it, but you actually do have to get relatively close to that. And for not being like not doing this, ever beforehand, or like not, like I kind of just came into this area and then like shot the approach. It wasn't like I circled around or anything. Like it was a little bit intimidating, but now that I've done it once, especially with a slow airplane like this PA-12, it's not hard at all. And then you angle your final a little bit to try to get away from this terrain here that's right by the road. And yeah, it's not that bad. But this PA-12 is a great airplane to do this in. But yeah, you finally get to see there's some civilization here. There's some there's some power lines on the one side. that I was watching, and then there's big giant trees on the hill on the other side. But overall, the air was really smooth, and the PA-12 is, it can handle this no problem. And it's, I don't know, I can't remember. It's like 2,500 feet, 2,600 feet, something like that. It's not short, really, by any stretch. So I made sure I had a real good height over the power lines, and then dropped it in. Did a 3-point landing here in it. It's pretty smooth, really smooth landing area there. Not hard at all, but after not flying in this, like I've never flown in this stuff before, and this was still not a new airplane to me. I'd have flown it like 20 hours at this point, but 25 hours I think is what I landed here at, and it's still, it's not, I don't know, it's still fun. It's still really cool to be able to make a landing like that, just kind of cold in an airplane that you're not super familiar with, but you've been getting to know over the last, 25 hours or so. And it's just a really cool area. I mean, come on. He's got this, it's just like a patch of gravelly grass right next to the highway. And then you have a lodge right across the river, or the road there. And we were actually considering seeing if we could like just taxi across the road and pull up to the gas station, but there wasn't really a good way to do that. So we just decided to, take the fuel bags out, or the liquid containment bags, and just fill them up and truck them across the road, and do that a couple times. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but that's what we had to do. But yeah, it was a really fun area to land at. I thought it was really fun landing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this full length, kind of more in-depth explanation. It's not the style that I normally do, and it's not the style I like making, but it's a lot lower effort, I would say. This takes me like 10 minutes instead of 40 hours to make. So I appreciate it. If you guys want more of this, let me know. See ya.